The recipe calls for murchita sesame oil, or sesame oil which has been pre-treated through the process of murchana. And it calls also for 1/2 gallon of cow's milk and 1/2 gallon of goat milk. These are all cooked together with a kalka, a paste of herbs. This paste is prepared from different herbs, 32 grams each. Rasna, for which we have substituted guduchi. Ashwagandha, mishi or dill, devadaru, kushta. We've used just a little bit of kushta because this is a very endangered herb from the high Himalayan areas. So we've substituted galangal root for most of the kushta called for in the recipe. And so next is the 4 parnis, the parni chatu, shala parni, prishni parni, mudga parni, and masha parni. And for these we have substituted, for the shala parni we've substituted gokshura. For the prishni parni we've substituted blue kohosh. And for mudga parni we've substituted yucca root. And for masha parni we've substituted comfrey. All of the herbs in this original recipe have anti-rheumatic properties, and a lot of them are nervines, and so we have favored herbs with anti-rheumatic properties and nervine herbs as we've chosen substitutes for this oil. So the next herb, aguru, is a very rare and expensive herb for which we have substituted our native sassafras. And so then the next herb is nagakeshara and Saindhav salt and jatamamsi and haridra or turmeric and daru haridra or tree turmeric. We've used a small amount of daru haridra and substituted for most of this yarrow, which has similar properties. Shaileya is a lichen, which we happen to have on hand, so we have used the Shaileya. And Chandan, in this case what is meant is the red Chandan, Rakta Chandan. And Pushkaramul, these roots we grew ourselves. And Ela, or the small cardamom. And Manjishtha. And Yashti Madhu, or licorice root, and Tagara, or Indian valerian. We've substituted the European type of valerian, which has very similar properties. And then Musta, or nutgrass, and Tej Patra, or the Indian bay leaf, which comes from a type of cinnamon tree, and Bringaraj. Bringaraj also grows wild in Virginia. We had this grown for us on a farm nearby. We started the Bringaraj from seed, and they grew it for us, and we harvested this last year. And Jivaka, for which we've substituted sarsaparilla, and Rishabhaka, for which we substituted marshmallow. And then Medha is a Polygonatum genus plant. So we substituted another plant in the same genus, Solomon seal. And Maha Medha is also a close relative of Solomon seal. And so for this we've added the false Solomon seal, also in the same botanical family. We've added a small amount of kudzu root also. For kakoli, we substituted astragalus. And for kshira kakoli, we substituted the black cohosh, which shares a lot of the nervine properties. For riddhi, we've substituted native wild yam, which we gathered. And for vriddhi, we substituted slippery elm. And for ambu, we've substituted a combination of crane's bill, the root of the native geranium, and the native wild ginger. And vacha and palasha, for palasha we substituted parsley root. For staulnea, we've substituted a combination of myrrh and juniper. And for vrishchikali, which is punarnava, we put some birch bark. For choraka, a type of angelica, we have substituted the European species of angelica, which has been grown here. A lot of the herbs in this blend we either have grown ourselves or we have gathered from the wild and processed ourselves, so we're sure that they are very fresh and very potent, and the pranas of these herbs are connected to the land here where we live, so it connects us to the nature here where we live. This is a great way to make herbal medicines when you can bring some of the ingredients from the garden and from the forest around and put them into the healing medicines. The properties are incomparable. So after 2 days of cooking, about 8 hours each day, we have our decoctions finished. You see the dark liquid here, and so we will strain these and we'll be ready in the morning to begin cooking our Tailam. So to cook the Tailam, we combine our ingredients in a large clean pan. First we add 1/2 gallon of murchita Tailam, that is pre-treated sesame oil, and we will heat that slightly before adding our other ingredients. Then we combine all of our powdered herbs in a large bowl and make a kalka or paste by adding water. So here is the finished kalka. We've used about 1 gallon of water. This is a large amount of powdered herbs. And adding the water will keep the herbs from clumping together in the cooking oil. Now that the oil has heated slightly, we'll go ahead and add this paste to the oil. And to this we add our decoction of 13 herbs. This we will add only part at a time because the pan is not large enough to accommodate the whole quantity. So as liquid evaporates, we will continue to add more liquids. Then we add our shatavari decoction. We've heated this decoction of shatavari so that it won't slow down the cooking process too much here. In total, the cooking of this oil is taking about 10 hours, it looks like, to cook all of the ingredients into the oil. Again, those ingredients are a half a gallon of oil, 2 gallons of our decoction of herbs, 1/2 gallon of the shatavari decoction, 1/2 gallon of milk, cow's milk, and 1/2 gallon of goat's milk. And you'll cook those all in the oil until all of the liquid has evaporated. And then the solid and the paste of herbs as well is in there. And the paste of the powdered herbs will be then thick, and it will be strained out of the finished oil. And then just the gandha dravyas, the substances for scenting the oil, will be added then at the end as a final step. So here is the beautiful Tailam cooking, and it smells wonderful. This will be a very potent herbal oil. We add 1/2 gallon of cow's milk. Then we're adding the goat's milk to this pan to preheat it before adding to the Tailam. And so 1/2 a gallon of fresh goat's milk. So we're preparing to strain the Tailam now. As you see, we cooked our Tailam to a karapaka consistency. This is the hard cooked process, and you see the paste of the herbs here forms a hard mass there. And so we are setting up this bowl to strain our Tailam into, and we've got a strainer here and some cotton cloth to catch that, and we will add our bowl of gandha dravyas, which these are not cooked along with the Tailam because they may lose some of their scent. The volatile oils can get lost during the cooking process, and so this is coarsely powdered and added to the strained oil, in which it will allow that to steep for 1 day and 1 night before straining again and bottling. So here is a little bit of the finished Tailam. It's very, very fragrant. Has a dark color. It's very potent.